Hey, how's it going? This is Stan. Another Philosophy Drive, the fourth in a video series on memetics, talking about the dynamics and mechanics of information and how they can lead to beliefs we don't like for whatever reason. They're dangerous or deceitful or what have you. So, yesterday, we talked about the short tower problem. Short tower problem is you go up to the first large body of evidence for a particular belief or position that you find, and a bunch of different things happen. There's a salesperson there who's charging tickets at the door, so already you have a bunch of loss aversion. You're like, is this really the tallest tower? But then you also have loss aversion about, like, well, what if I'm so skeptical and I go and explore the land and this was the tallest tower and I went out exploring? I'd sure be an idiot if. And remember, I'm sure be an idiot if is the mantra of loss aversion. You're worried about giving him $5 because what if you get to the top of the tower, realize that this wasn't the tallest tower, and you just give him $5? That should be an idiot if. You get to the top of the tower, you take a look out on the horizon, and you see a tower that could be taller, you're not really sure, but when he nudges your shoulder and says, hey man, isn't that a shorter tower? Your loss aversion, retrospective, prompts you to say, yeah, that is shorter. I'm sure glad I made the right decision. Second of all, there's also loss aversion in the salesperson himself. At the bottom of that tower, even if this is the tallest tower, he wants to market it to you as effectively as possible, which might mean lying. So he might say, there's a conspiracy at the other tower to make you think it's taller, but it's really not. So don't even go there because there's a conspiracy. And he might be telling the truth. He might be telling the truth about the conspiracy, but he might be lying. In any case, it's a tactic to make you stay, regardless of whether he's telling the truth or not. There's the tactic of, who do you think you are, to go off on your own tower searching? I'm Dr. Tower. There's all sorts of stuff. In any case, the loss aversion in you and in this other guy combine interests to keep you rooted at short towers. Or even tall towers. I mean, they keep you rooted at the tower you're at. And in memetics, that's called a local maxima. A local maximum, the plural is local maxima. But it's where you're at this local maxima and you're like, you know what, this is pretty tall. But you are disincentivized to go out exploring for various reasons. In our case, it's loss aversion. And loss aversion is where we feel doubly, or some studies say triply bad about prospective losses than we do about prospective gains. And that simple fact, that simple thing about our brains, tends to make us loyal to things that might turn out to be mistaken or erroneous. What's the solution? To go out and explore for yourself. Okay, so that's the summary of the previous video, but I wanted to give a quick recap because the video before was kind of long and a little bit meandering, but that's the blast. It's the blast of it. So what are some case examples? Case examples. Get a little bit controversial now, because now I'm going to talk about where I've actually seen this. So, one of the best examples that I can think of, and there's a reason why I think it's one of the best examples, but I guess it will depend on who you are, is the moon landing and moon landing truthers. So, there are folks out there who believe that the moon landing was a hoax, that it was recorded on some Hollywood set to help win the Cold War or something. And if you come to that tower, if you arrive at that information stack, they will flood you with a lot of apparent evidence. Okay, so in other words, if you're a layperson and you're unfamiliar with space, like, we landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, we have satellites in space, it all seems plausible and stuff. These guys will come at you and they'll be like, did you know about these radiation levels out there that would, like, kill actual astronauts? And, did you know that, the flag shouldn't have been waving, because there's no air on the moon? And they'll come at you with recordings, and they'll give their little spin on those recordings. They have an information stack. Do not underestimate the hoaxers, the truthers for the moon landing. Because if you come at them as a layman, they are going to kablammer you. Now, here's the trick. If you go out and do some tower exploration on your own, on the horizon, you'll find a tower 1,000 times as tall, advocating the position that, yes, of course we went to the moon. Of course we did. Hundreds of thousands of witnesses on the project. Contributors to the endeavor. Yes, we did go. And every little complaint brought about by this short tower over here is completely addressed. But this is how myths spread, is when you have this short tower and a layperson doesn't know any better and just sticks with it. Not only that, but there's an additional magic brain juice phenomenon called secret gnosis stimulation, where when you think that you know something that other people don't know, you get stimulated at the prospect of being able to make better prospects. You're able to say, oh man, I'm not gullible. I'm not an idiot. I know more information. I'm better at gathering information. That person is fooled. That person's one of the sheeple. So secret gnosis stimulation is very effective here too. And what it does is it gets you locked into conspiracy theories when the body of evidence is dwarfed by reality. Now, this is not to say that there are no conspiracies. Of course there are conspiracies. We have, like through the Freedom of Information Act, we have all sorts of documented things that governments have done. We know about things that corporations have done, illegal collusion. People conspire. There are conspiracies. There are secrets. And we are stimulated to find out those secrets. Unfortunately, it being the magic brain juice it is, which is dopamine, it sometimes pushes us to be a little overeager in figuring out those conspiracies. Think about John Nash in A Beautiful Mind, connecting magazine to magazine, trying to figure out the secret codes in the magazines. It's the pattern recognition stimulation, the euphoria that comes with that of dopamine that makes us want to do this. And it makes us prone to buy into conspiracy theories. There's some sinister plot out there, and that's what explains this and this and this. We don't want to deal with the complexity of the world, and so we like to shorten everything into black and white boxes. Alright, so moon landing being a hoax is one. And the reason I use that is because I'm assuming that most everyone I talk to in this video believes that we landed on the moon. And so that's a pretty good example because there is a large body of apparent evidence against it. The thing is, there's just a billion times larger body of actual evidence for it. And so it's important that if you land at that tower first, you need to realize that's a local maximum, and you gotta go out and find other towers. What other conspiracies are there? Well, there's the flat earth folk. Yes, they are still around. Let me turn this down a little bit. They take the whole pillars and dome description from the Bible literally, and they believe that must mean a flat earth. And there's a few of them about making that case. There's still geocentrists around. We have 9/11 truthers that, like, George W. Bush fired a missile at the towers, or we have Obama Kenya truthers. We have anti-vaccine people who erroneously think that vaccines cause autism, completely against the actual body of evidence. So we have all these examples of, you know, from the absurd to flat earth to things that actually affect a coin flip amount of people, making it dangerous. Like the whole vaccine autism thing is actually dangerous for children. It's a dangerous belief. Oh man, like, I don't care if Joe Schmo believes in a flat earth, but if a bunch of folks are getting convinced about this vaccine autism thing, oops, that actually is dangerous to me and my health and my prospective kids in the future. So here's the homework. This was a little bit of a controversial one, but I hope I mitigated controversy by only talking about things that you and I can agree with. But you know, I'm sure that you and I disagree on some stuff, if you know me personally. If you don't know me personally, I'm sure you can imagine that you and I disagree with each other on all sorts of stuff. So I try to make it a practice for myself. I've switched beliefs a lot. I'm a flip-flopper because I am not satisfied at towers. I gotta find out what the global maximum is, and I want to impress that attitude on you because I think it's an awesome attitude. It's an exciting attitude, and it gets us to find out a lot of stuff that, man, like, a year ago I was believing this, but now I found out that that's incorrect, and it's great. I love finding out that I'm wrong because it means that I'm probably closer to being right if I'm doing my due diligence. So my homework to you is just think of one thing, one controversial belief that you hold, and think about whether you are at a short tower or whether you have done the due diligence of going out to explore all the towers without automatically buying into the thing that salesman at the first tower told you, which is that I'm Dr. Tower, who are you to leave, and there's a conspiracy over there, so don't bother exploring. Because that's a mimetic strategy to stop you from exploring, whether or not that tower is truly the tallest or not. So you can't just listen to the salesman. You got to go out and explore the other sources. So think of one belief that you hold that's like this, that maybe you haven't done the exploring on, and encourage you to do the exploring with an open mind. Okay, so that concludes the whole short tower illustration that started in the video before. Good luck on your endeavor and your adventure.